Story number two. Is green energy a scam? Now, this is a big story because we see a lot of investments going into electric cars, and you even see the push. They're even in Ohio, where GM has left Lordstown. They're closing down some of their plants, and some people say that maybe they did not read the fine print in the details when they even got the government bailout. Now, a lot of manufacturers have been getting affected by the new engagement to stop as many carbon emissions as being introduced into the atmosphere. So they've been cracking down on the auto industry, but you're starting to see the ripple effect as investors are starting to try to gear their way towards electric vehicles. Now, you look at a story like number two, is green energy a scam? You have to ask yourself, why are even countries doing this? The EU should drop. They're planning to drop oil, gas, and coal funding. This is according to their ministers. Now, you look at a story like this, and you have to look at the details. Why are people steering away from fossil fuels? You need these types of energy to basically fuel the energy for. You've got billions of people on the planet. If you start steering away from this type of energy, then you ask yourself, could this be a recipe for disaster? Now, you see a big push towards green energy, and you see a lot of climate change activists trying to get their voice heard in the debate, but we don't know how the country or the world is going to look years from now if you start investing in solar energy, electric motor vehicles. I mean, the sad part about this debate, and the reason why story number two made it to the top 8, because when you look at windmills, you look at solar power, and you look at like electric vehicles, you still need something to generate the electricity. So no matter what you do, if you don't have water for the dam, if you don't have some type of a push, some type of a gasoline or oil fuel car, then I don't know how far they're going to get. So that's why story number two is important. That's why I crept its way into the top 8, because this is affecting the auto industry. You look at you can even look at how they're talking about how the lithium ion battery, how there's been cases of explosions in Tesla model vehicles, how some Tesla employees are starting to migrate. You look at the technology, how people have been stealing, have been flocking to get to the pads on this technology. You're starting to see something that is causing a big when you look at science and you look at the car industry, you see this story on a grand scale, and you see how it can gain potential because of the fact that the governments are wanting to invest in this type of energy, and when people see dollars, they will flock to them. This is no different than oil. This is no different than when the oil boom or when oil fields were found. People are flocking to this type of energy, and that's why story number two will probably gain steam. It has potential to keep people talking, especially the intellects, people who are very highly schooled on the academics of electric motor vehicles, motor batteries, and people who are in the car industry, in the fuel industry, trying to push for a more clean industry. These people don't seem to be losing money, but they seem to be getting killed with regulations. When you look at a company like GM, why they've had to downsize, and why many companies are trying to convert to hybrid or electric vehicles, Tesla, you see these companies, and that's why story number two is on the radar. But it has people wondering, is it all just some big scam? By the left, when you look at the pendulum swinging to the right, they're saying, hey, people, no matter what we do, when you look at the right stance on this, you're going to need fossil fuels, you're going to need gas, you're going to need coal, and that's why story number two crept its way into the top 8, because people are just wondering where we're headed when we in the future of driving. You see battery fuel cars exploding. You look at the data. Some people have good reports. Some people say, what happens when the fuel cells can't be recharged? This is a story that will probably stay alive because it's affecting people's money, and people are losing jobs because of the stance on carbon emissions. Even though it could create a lot of jobs in the green energy field, but when you look at how energy is changing, how the stance on it, where we're headed, the ability for climate change to take off with almost 11,000 scientists saying that we need to start focusing more on climate change. This story definitely has the potential. Now, it has the potential to grow because you look at what's happening in the green energy sector. You look at what's happening in the science field when they're looking at the globe. Are humans, is man causing the earth to warm? That's why story number 2 has the ingredients to grow. Here in the Mediator, it'll be Brian Westward. It's my duty every week to give you the top 8 headlines, developing news stories, going through story after story, over 200 every week, to keep you informed, to keep you on your toes, to keep you knowing what's happening in the news, so you won't just not know what's going on. And we're heading into 2020 season. This is a big presidential election, so these stories, but you may be wanting to keep an eye on certain stories like this to know what's affecting you. You can also go to the website, check out the stories that almost made it in, that didn't make it, or did make it in, and you can do your research. You may have your own radio program, your own news program, your own podcast, your own blog, your maybe have a social media platform. This may be the place for you. I'm going through 8 top stories, developing headlines and developing news stories. So if you want to be a contributor, it doesn't take much. METHOD, the number 8, INC.com, method80.com, where you can buy something, click on something, watch something, read something, or the sponsor program. Now remember, I just stay in the middle, navigating the news, figuring out which stories are most beneficial for you, so you the viewer, so you can figure out which stories will help you on your cause. So if you want to be a contributor, it doesn't take much. METHOD, the number 8, INC.com, method80.com, where you can buy something, click on something, watch something, read something, or the sponsor program. I'm just staying in the middle, navigating the news, the journalists, the people on the front lines. They deserve most of the credit. So if you yourself want to be a contributor, METHOD, the number 8, INC.com, method8inc.com, where you can buy something, click on something, watch something, read something, or just sponsor program.
Then dial your operator. Have no fear, fellow citizens. The Mediator is here.